experiences of Singapore entrepreneurs with dyslexia. Overall, negative. The participants were asked to reflect on their educational experiences. And I must say, it takes a very strong heart to read what they had said about studying at school, to hear their heartfelt comments, which includes recounts of negative experiences as well as bullying. But things that they say are typically like this: struggling constantly, teachers constantly calling my parents to tell them I wasn't doing well. So we compared the primary and secondary education, and the negative experiences were highly significant. As you can see, the dyslexics are graphed in red, and they have the complete opposite experience to their non-dyslexic peers. So where the positive experiences are on the left and the negative experiences on the right, you can see that the negative experiences for the dyslexics are very, very, very strong. So if we have a look at some of the comments that these entrepreneurs are making. I had a really terrible 3 years in primary 1 to primary 3. I always was last in class, and my principal had to speak to my mum, telling her that I might be an idiot. Best if she can send me to a doctor. My mum cried that day. This is a moment that is still engraved in my heart until now. It's truly a moment of humiliation. In secondary school was not very positive for me because the learning experience was dull and not very practical. Moreover, there was a lack of technological advancement during that time, and the teachers were not appreciative of using technology as an educational tool. Interesting response. So if we have a look at our educational experiences, the picture is not completely negative. Looking at the highest level of qualification, we see that our entrepreneurs are highly qualified in their cohort has 65% of dyslexics and 75% of non-dyslexics have a tertiary education. Where in Singapore, the national average is around 40%. This is a very positive finding. It's also reflective of the Singapore government's impressing on its people that lifelong learning is essential to improve skills and to follow an evolving economy. And this doesn't necessarily mean a tertiary education, of course. Alternative skills-based learning is also important to grow the economy. But let's have a look at the university experience. 100% positive. Our dyslexic entrepreneurs were having a better experience at university than their non-dyslexic peers. 100% of them said they had a positive experience. And this is something that Tom West describes in adult dyslexics. He says that they can really shine at tertiary level, and they can shine when they're in higher learning. And at DAS, we see this type of success in our alumni students. Once they get into higher learning, they start to enjoy their studies. They're doing something that they love. They are successful at it. And because they're successful at it, it leans into their strengths and they're doing the best they can. One of our young achievers, just recently I interviewed, and he was doing an engineering course, and he went into engineering and he just got it. You know, he understood the engineering concepts and he was highly successful in his course. But what he noticed is that his non-dyslexic peers just didn't get it. And so he was their tutor. He was the one that was teaching them and helping them. And it was really interesting how the roles were reversed, because in primary and secondary, he was really, really struggling. But when he got into his strength, he was doing really well, and even to the point where he was helping his non-dyslexic peers. He was helping them and tutoring them. He was teaching them. And I really felt that that was very indicative of what can happen in higher learning. And we need to just get our kids into higher learning. We need to be able to assist them to get there, because we know that they can be highly successful. Once they get through that struggle of primary and secondary school, learning gets easier as they get older. And when I asked our dyslexic entrepreneurs, is learning easier in adulthood than childhood? Well, 87% said definitely. Learning was definitely easier as an adult than it was when they were learning in childhood. And so what were their university comments? Well, the one that I really like is, during my tertiary years, things changed. Things changed for the better. I was doing something I loved, things that I excelled in, making me constantly at the top of my class, even graduating with a 2 distinction for my master's. But let me talk to you about one of my inspiring entrepreneurs. Edward Yee is the co-founder of Give Funds. He was the first he was awarded a Rhodes Scholarship first one in 14 years in Singapore back in 2018. And now he's just been awarded in the 2021 Forbes list 30 under 30. And he's a very exciting young man. And he says he is where he is today because of his dyslexia, not in spite of it. Edward is a change maker. He really does want to make a difference in the world. He's going to be a very inspiring young man. He's only young, and he will be someone to watch, and he will definitely make a difference in this world. So in conclusion, Julie Logan said that dyslexia was not a barrier for entrepreneurs, and for dyslexics, it was a place that they can really shine. And I totally agree with this. The future is very bright for dyslexic entrepreneurs in Singapore. However, if Singapore is going to continue to invest in its only natural resource, its people, I think changes are really necessary for the education system. And I do believe that it's not just in Singapore where this occurs. In a lot of our education systems, we need to review all the experiences that our students are having at school, especially primary and secondary school. When it comes to inclusion and understanding learning differences, our teacher capabilities need to be reviewed. They need to understand what it's like to have a learning difference, and they need to know how to be able to support these students in their classes. And therefore, a review of teacher capabilities is pertinent, not only in primary and secondary. I believe in all levels of education, this is important, especially in university, where a lot of our lecturers don't believe that individuals with dyslexia are actually capable of getting to university. And then what I'm telling you is they're really successful at university. Maybe we will think differently about how we can support them when things might not go so well. So I'm coming back to the Embrace Dyslexia commitment, because we know that our young students with dyslexia are struggling in the education system every day, not just in Singapore, everywhere. Having dyslexia means that they face many challenges. However, it's through the support of our wonderful educators, not only at DAS, but in our mainstream schools, that our young learners can become confident and successful in their learning. DAS believes that all our students have unique attributes and abilities and talents, and this will help them to have a successful future, a successful education, and if they embrace their strengths, they will have a much better positive learning journey, and it will build the confidence and resilience towards having a successful career. So I would like to encourage you to embrace dyslexia and to help us, DAS, to advocate for the dyslexic community. Please sign our Embrace Dyslexia campaign on change.org. The link is here, change.org/embrace-dyslexia. We all need to recognise the strengths and the uniqueness of those who have dyslexia. Thank you very much for